PlayStation is facing a 1-week boycott because of the killing off of physical media. Xbox gamers can't even play their physical media, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Google Stadia came back. Alright, some pretty loaded statements there. It's been an absolutely insane week. Unless you made 2 videos a day, you wouldn't be able to cover it all. But obviously, let's go in order. PlayStation is experiencing a boycott. Well, it's going to experience a boycott at the end of August. So it's really bizarre that they've chosen like a very specific week in the future, and it's only been a 1-week period. It's not like an indefinite thing. It's literally just a 1-week boycott. And I just want to say that I admire the optimism here. I think it's actually kind of beautiful that we have this level of positive energy and optimism about something which I just cannot imagine Sony will even notice. When you think about the numbers, like, this is not just a company that makes a games console. They make hardware, they make Walkmans, they make phones, they make games consoles, they own music industry, they own the music industry, they own their own music label. Okay, Sony has a lot of money. And if you think that not playing your PlayStation is going to have any effect on them, like, we're talking about 1 week of not playing your PlayStation. We didn't actually tell everyone to like quit their subscriptions. We didn't tell people to sell their consoles. We didn't tell everyone to like do anything negative regarding their console. There's just don't play for a week. I just want to say that I actually kind of think that's kind of beautiful that people are so optimistic that they think that this could have an effect. I guess I will take part in this boycott just because I would like to see if it does have any effect. I'm just not sure if I just feel like it's a little bit kind of crazy over the top optimism, expecting a company as big as Sony to even notice that this is happening. So there's a boycott, obviously, with PlayStation, and the message is clear. People are upset about the killing off of physical media on PS5, a current console. We're not talking about like killing off the physical media, like the disc drive in a future, maybe PlayStation 6, if that's even going to be a real thing. It's like, we're going to kill off disc production. There will be no games produced on disc for PlayStation 5 on whatever year it was. Was it like 2028 and moving onward? It's absolutely insane, of course. Announcing something like that for a console which is still current. They're still selling it. I don't even know if you can still buy the disc drive version, but you can buy like an attachment for your PS5, right? So the boycott obviously is big news. If it works out, that would be great. I'm not so sure how it's going to turn out. But then the next interesting thing is that in this news, PlayStation is like, well, don't worry about physical media. You don't need physical media. You can always just play your digital games. And then Xbox comes in and they're just like, hold my beer. I absolutely cannot believe this. Xbox found a way to make it not possible to even play your physical games. So it's like, even if you bought physical games, it's still not really safe, because at any point they could have a software update or some sort of infrastructure change, apparently, and this is the story that they ran with. Some random tiny thing that they changed way up in the infrastructure trickled down into not every console, a huge number of consoles not being able to play certain physical games. And obviously that should never really happen, but the point is, even when they didn't do it on purpose, which again, I don't know if I really believe that, even if they don't do it on purpose, they could accidentally lock you out of your physical games. So is ownership even alive in 2026? We're talking about the death of ownership in 2027 or 2028. It's like, it may already be dead. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if something like Google Stadia came back. Now, Google Stadia, when it was first announced, I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. It was like, okay, I see that subscription-based cloud gaming, like, I can see where people might think that is the future. But like, when they first announced it, this is like years back, was this pre-pandemic? I can't even remember. Like, the idea of paying $60 it's impossible to even think about it now. You paid $60 for this subscription. No, sorry. You'd pay for the subscription to the service every month. And then when you wanted certain games, they weren't all just available for free. You would also have to pay a full fee for the game. And I think one of the main games that was like launching, its launch of the game originally was Samurai Spirits or Samurai Showdown, the newest one. It was like Samurai Showdown 7. And they were like, you're going to pay $60 for this game, in addition to your subscription fee to Google Stadia. And then if you're not subscribed to Google Stadia anymore, obviously you can't play this game that you paid $60 for. So it sounds absolutely insane, of course. I don't think the implementation really was the only problem. It was timing as well. People were just not ready for an idea like that. Just like people weren't really ready for the whole concept of, on-disc DLC. Like, remember with Street Fighter Cross Tekken? Okay, so we're talking about all sorts of history here. But what I want to bring the story back to is why Google Stadia might actually come back. And it's because when you think about what's happening with PlayStation, they're trying to kill off physical media. And then Xbox, they're actually saying that the price of the Project Helix is most likely going to be $1,000 or more, and that even with the price increases that they've implemented on the Xbox Series X and Series S, which are the current two consoles, they're still losing $150 per console. And maybe I'm just a skeptic, but when I saw that news, I thought to myself, are they really suffering here? Because isn't that the whole point of Xbox Game Pass? I'm pretty sure the whole strategy for the past 7 years, according to the current timeline of all the graphs and everything that I saw, the past 7 years was, the whole point of it was to move people over to Xbox Game Pass, a thing where you can experience Xbox games anywhere, on a PC, on an actual Xbox. Or remember when the Asus ROG handheld, it goes, this is an Xbox. Like, basically anything is an Xbox, because the point of the system is to make money without selling a console, because Xbox figured it out. It's too expensive to sell people consoles, and people are really finicky about them anyway, and they complain about all the time. It's just like, why don't we stop losing money on this console and just sell people a service? Now, remember how console gaming works. The way that they lock you into their closed system is that it's on a hardware box. The game has to be compiled to only run on this specific piece of hardware. Of course, now we know with Xbox that it doesn't need to only run on that hardware, because you can play these Xbox games on your PC or your Asus handheld, whatever it is. Anything is an Xbox now, right? They figured out that really the whole idea of like locking people into a piece of hardware to get them to play an Xbox game isn't even necessary anymore. Actually, Game Pass, the money didn't really pan out. So maybe in 2026, maybe it is still necessary to have a console. But they know that long term, it's just going to cause them headaches, because they have to lose money in order to make loads of money. Now, the other reason I'm very skeptical is that I actually just saw a graph that was literally just this morning showing all of the Microsoft businesses, and they're all profitable except for Windows and Xbox. Like, when you think of Microsoft, what company is Microsoft? It's like, oh, they make an operating system called Windows, and they have a games console called Xbox. Well, turns out those two categories are the ones that are making, they're actually negative. They are causing them to lose money, whereas the other like 8 or 9 categories, which are all like cloud services and other random things, those are the only things that are actually profitable. So when I hear that Xbox is suffering, it's like, yeah, I get it. And I don't want Xbox to completely disappear. I think there's value in having competition in consoles, and I still love the whole thing. I grew up with consoles. But when you say that Xbox is struggling, it's like, well, the company that owns Xbox is not struggling. And don't forget, like, they brought in, 200 million new players into Xbox, the Xbox ecosystem in the past year, I think they said. Asha Sharma, I think I saw a tweet this morning. 200 million users. That's like, okay, so maybe Xbox isn't super profitable, but you still gain the phone numbers and names and data of 200 million people. And remember that making money is more about just selling people's data these days. So really, does it even matter if Xbox itself is making a lot of money? It's like Microsoft wants your data, and they want you to spend money on their cloud services, and they're selling cloud services to people that are not even regular consumers like you and me. So Xbox doesn't really have to succeed, but also console gaming doesn't really have to succeed. So when they said that every Xbox is losing them $150 every single time they make one, and that's even with the price increase, which I think hasn't actually been rolled out yet. Even when it rolls out, they'll still be losing money when they sell Xboxes. The thing is, isn't this what all of them want? I think that this is what Xbox wants. I think this is what Microsoft wants. I believe this is what Sony and PlayStation want. I'm absolutely certain this is what Google wants. I can't think of any company at all that cares really about whether you can buy hardware, because you owning hardware just means that you could possibly play stuff without them. Be independent, not reliant on them for your gaming needs. But if you can't actually own anything on your games and you'll have to use their subscription services, then really, cloud is the future for them. They don't like a future where you need to have them make hardware for you, which costs them money. On day one, they sell you a console and they lose money. The idea was that component prices would drop and eventually the console would also make money when they sell the hardware. Obviously, that's not happening in 2026, and I don't know for how many more years that's going to continue to be the case. But component prices, if anything, have increased. They are losing money every time they make hardware. I think that actually the company that had the prescience of mind, they understood exactly what was going to happen in the future, is Sega. I'm saying that very poorly. Sega is the company that I loved. You can actually see it. I've got like a Dreamcast. Can you see it? I've got a Dreamcast right there, and I love it still. But the thing is, no matter how hard I supported Dreamcast, I feel like I just support all the consoles that die. I supported Dreamcast. I supported PS Vita. You've seen the videos. That's how this channel began. The Dreamcast was the last console that Sega made, and when they pivoted away from making consoles, what they said was that they were going to go into making games only. Maybe they just thought at the time, there are too many consoles out there and we just can't compete, because now we're not competing with just Nintendo and PlayStation, we're also competing with Apple. And I think Nintendo actually famously said this explicitly. They said, we don't consider the PS Vita like our rival in the handheld space. We think of the iPhone as their rival in the handheld space. I think that when Sega moved away from the console thing, they also kind of understood that this whole making something of value and selling it is not really the business anymore. Making something of value is only to lock people into the system where you can sell them something of imaginary value, or value that you can decide the price of later. It's a subscription service with games that are all worth $150 each, and when you consider all the DLC in Dead or Alive 6, it's actually worth $1,000. But with your subscription of only $60 per month, or however crazy expensive it's going to be, like Adobe subscriptions, let's face it, they can kind of make it sound like you're getting like $1 million worth of value out of this subscription. But ultimately, the point is that they lock you into the system and you never, ever get to stop paying. So even if for one day it sounds like an amazing value, the point is, it's not really the path to financial freedom or freedom of any sort to lock yourself into a system where you have to keep paying money out. If you want to be free and completely go away from the whole rat race in the working world, you would have to find a way to not spend any money. Don't buy any food, don't buy any shelter, don't buy any of these things. But we have like a basic list of things that we kind of need to buy in order to survive. And if we add on top of those things gaming services, or games basically, and we buy them as one-offs and then we just play them whenever we want to, if we replace those with services, they turn into things that we don't own. They become these things that we have to continue paying for in order to get any of the value from them. So the point isn't that like is it a good value to have 1 million different games for like $5 a month or $50 a month, however much it is. The point is that once you're locked into a system where you have to continue paying to access anything at all, it's like, well, that's not the end of it, right? Games you'll need access to, music you'll need access to. As far as Sam is concerned, AI is also going to be a service like drinking water that you're going to have to pay for as much as you need, and maybe even just to do your job you will require AI, and maybe they won't even pay for your tokens, so you'll have to pay out of your own pocket for your tokens to use the AI to work for your company, who won't even pay you real money. They'll just pay you in tokens. It's over. It just feels, sometimes it does feel like everything is falling apart. The reason I said that I think that Google Stadia could return is that actually it doesn't seem so crazy anymore, does it? Since we can't pay for our own, we can't pay for Steam machines, we probably won't be able to afford Project Helix, we can't even buy a basic computer anymore. Apparently, what is it? Like AMD is going to release a 4 gigabyte graphics card later in 26 or 2027. I don't know. That's what's happening with component prices. And for a little while, it's like, oh wow, this is really terrible, and it's because of AI that we can't afford to buy our own computers. But it's not really. That's not the end of the story, is it? It feels like the whole game plan is to make sure that no one can own their own computer, because you don't need to own your own computer to use AI. Well, of course, you'll have to own a smartphone. You'll have to own some sort of device, but a configurable PC that you can make yourself, run yourself, store your own files. That is the old system where people had control of their lives. The new system is we own everything. Sorry. The companies own everything, and all the things that you want to use at all, you'll have to access them from us. Of course, at some basic level, you will have a device, and obviously, they might even provide that device for free because it benefits them if you have a device that you can access their stuff. But it will have the bare basic components to allow you to access subscription services. I'm not trying to make it all sound insanely bleak, but unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. When you see the news of everything that's happening, sometimes it's easy to see the news and go, oh, these poor companies. When you're thinking about the console makers, I think they're all thinking, yes, keep the prices going up. Make sure that no one can own a Steam machine or a PC or any kind of computer with any kind of actual file system. Think about the iPhone. Think about how long it took for them to actually give us an ability to copy and paste an actual file. The way I see it is that none of this is an accident, and the prices going up, if anything, it benefits console makers, because I think the end game for them is to be able to sell us their subscription service without having to lose money on hardware, which is traditionally how it's always been. Make a hardware device, sometimes it's very expensive and they break even or they make a little profit, but then very quickly the console industry obviously became the system where, okay, we're just going to have to lose some money when we make these consoles, because eventually we will make money when the components come down in price. Remember when that was a thing? And then we'll also be making all the money on the games, because you won't be able to buy these games anywhere else, because they all have to be okayed by Nintendo in order to become a cartridge for a Nintendo system. They're closed systems. Nintendo is a closed system. Xbox is a closed system. PlayStation is a closed system. And now they can create closed systems without the hardware. I think making something of value and selling that thing for profit is just kind of an antiquated idea for these companies. For me, I still really want more stuff like that, and that's why I keep buying things like physical objects that I think have actual value. And I'm doing it a lot. I've bought yo-yos, I've bought guitars, I play the piano. I'm not saying that these are better hobbies, and I've talked about this before. I want video gaming to continue to be affordable. But the way things are going, it just does not feel like that is the future. That is not the immediate future for us with video games. And it definitely feels like every time the prices get jacked up on these consoles and the components and RAM, DRAM and everything, it doesn't feel like an accident. And I don't think the console makers are actually like, oh, what a shame, we wanted to offer the console to people at a lower price. I think they're thinking, well, it looks like the time has finally come for everyone to adopt the the Xbox Game Pass PlayStation Premium subscription Google Stadia model, where we make nothing and you still have to pay for it. We could talk about this for days, and we probably will. So if you want to hear more of these discussions about the video gaming industry, the future of all these things, and how does it actually affect us on a day-to-day basis? Make sure that you're subscribed for more. Listen, I love video games. I do not want them to really struggle the way they are, but it's looking kind of bleak, to be quite honest. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've been NihongoGamer. I'll see you real soon.